Hi all, this is Dr. Sage Breslin and this is Wisdom Wednesdays. So one of the questions I get pretty frequently is, how do I know if my partner is a narcissist? And the sort of alternate for that question is I often get folks who will call and say, well, how do I know if my boss is a narcissist? Okay, so first question is, why do you want to know, right? Why are you worrying about whether or not your boss or partner is a narcissist? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Maybe the bigger question is, if your boss or partner is a narcissist, how is it affecting you? So my second sort of quick response is, all right, you want to know if one of these people in your life is toxic for you and is, say, a narcissist, or perhaps somebody with a low functioning borderline personality disorder, or a sociopath, right? And in relationships, when we have a relationship with someone that is toxic, whether they're a narcissist, whether they're borderline, or whether they're sociopath, those would all kind of qualify for a pathological love relationship, right? Having somebody with one of those personality disorders would probably cause you to have a pretty tough time with communication, with connection, and with finding your own level of mental health in the relationship. So, all right, let's just speak to it. And we'll use the word narcissist, but I want to remind you that it may not just be narcissism. It could be borderline, it could be sociopathy. So those pathologies right now, we're just going to put them sort of in the same bucket. So if you're in a relationship, either professional or personal relationship with somebody who is pathological, generally speaking, they don't have their own core energy source, right? So they tend to feed on others. So for instance, a sociopath does not have a core sense of self. They don't have a soul, for instance. It's kind of our shorthand. And so they're constantly putting their tentacles in other people to feed off their energy, to feed off of whatever they're needing. I would say narcissists, by and large, are folks who have their own sense of trauma, or they're wounded, but they don't want anyone to know that they're wounded. So like an animal in the wilderness that is wounded, they develop a big bark, right? A lot of hot air, a lot of arrogance, a lot of sort of brilliance, a lot of ways to distract you from what's going on internally with them. And it also helps them feel better, feel that they have power over you, feel that they are better than you, smarter than you. It allows them to sort of put you in your place so that they can feed on you. And that ensures a continuous food source for them. I know that sounds grotesque, but that is some good, thumbnail sketching here about narcissisms. So if you're wondering, for instance, if your boss is a narcissist, my guess is that you've noticed that your boss is always sort of lording it over other people on the team, always feels that his or her way is right or the best, doesn't give you the kind of appreciation you believe you deserve, probably doesn't acknowledge you and your efforts the way maybe other healthier people would, may feel like you're never giving enough. And that's going to be kind of a sign. That'll be one of those signs of a narcissist, like you can never do enough to please them. And a narcissist will always see themselves and their needs and desires as first over whatever it is you might need. So if you're with a partner who is a narcissist, I would say some of the telltale signs is you'll begin to lose yourself. So, in addition to all of those other signs that I just mentioned, you'll begin to distrust yourself, distrust your sense of reality, distrust what you thought you knew to be true. And the reason is that many narcissists, many folks who are pathologically minded, they'll gaslight and they're emotionally abusive, and they'll tell you what your reality is or should be. They'll tell you you're the problem, they're not the problem. What you're doing is causing yourself pain, has nothing to do with them or how they're treating you. They might even say, you really need help, you're really sick. And they can do it in what we call the Mr. Nice Guy fashion. So you really begin to feel like maybe there is something wrong with me. Maybe I really should be looking at this. When in reality, they are just keeping you, just submerged just enough so that they can feed on you, so that they have that sense of control over you, have you malleable, have you doing their bidding. So when you're in a long-term pathological relationship, whether personal or professional, what happens is you begin to lose yourself, your sense of power, your sense of presence, your sense of reality. And that can generate a lot of problems. Number one, you'll likely start to feel anxious and depressed because you can never do enough and you're never good enough. Now, it's all hogwash, right? It's just the pathological or toxic person in your life who's giving you that feedback. But it's very hard to break out of it when you're still, underneath that person. So, couple of tips. If you are questioning whether your boss or your partner or lover is a narcissist, my first tip would be get out. My second tip would be get some help. Get people who will help you remember who you are. And my third tip would be consider getting the kind of support that will let you remember who you are, get your powerful presence back in the driver's seat, and let you make better decisions about who you're going to spend time with, either at work or at home. And know that if there's any one of those steps that leads you to continue to go back to the person or people just like that person, there may be some anchors further below the surface of the water. And those are things that I certainly specialize in sussing out. So, boy, my wisdom for the day is if you think you're in relationship with a narcissist, give us a call. We'll help you determine, A, if that may be the case, if we can, but B, why are you feeling that way? And what can you do for yourself if you are feeling that way? This is Dr. Sage Breslin, and this is Wisdom Wednesdays.